Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
A suspect is under arrest in connection with a series of pipe bombs mailed this week to prominent Democrats and critics of President Trump. NBC's Susan McGinnis has been following the fast-moving developments and has more on the story.
56-year-old Florida resident Cesar Sayoc was arrested today in connection with the mail bombs sent to top Democrats and critics of President Trump.
He has been charged today with 5 federal crimes. These charges may change or expand as the investigation proceeds.
As Sayoc was taken into custody, FBI investigators seized his van, covered with pictures of the president, right-wing bumper stickers, and pictures of Democrats with rifle targets over their faces.
He may have been appears to be a partisan, but that would be determined by the facts as the case goes forward.
As investigators look for a motive, more packages were discovered.
These are not hoax devices.
The latest, addressed to Democratic Senators Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, as well as former Intelligence Director James Clapper. They're among a long list of recipients of pipe bomb packages sent from coast to coast, the common thread, frequent critics and targets of President Trump. The president vowed a swift prosecution, but only hinted at what many see as a political motivation for this crime.
Americans must unify. And we must show the world that we are united together in peace and love and harmony as fellow American citizens.
Soon after, he returned to his familiar anti-media rhetoric.
I can do the greatest thing for our country, and on the networks and on different things, it will show bad.
Before the arrest, the president lamented the, quote, bomb stuff was slowing Republican momentum at the polls. With a suspect in custody, investigators now have a mountain of evidence, from the packages to the van.
The guy's motive plastered all over his van.
Still unknown whether more bombs are en route.
Authorities say the suspect could face 48 years in prison and that more charges could be filed. The Fargo police officer who fired shots at a man in downtown Fargo earlier this week has been identified. On Wednesday at around 11:30 in the morning, police were investigating a possible bike theft. The officer made contact with Richard Torres of Moorhead, who took off on foot and then pointed a gun at the officer. Officer Corey Luckow feared for his life and fired his weapon several times at Torres. Luckow has been with the Fargo Police Department for 2 years. He has now been placed on paid administrative leave. The North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation will conduct the officer-involved shooting investigation. 32-year-old Richard Torres has been charged with 1 count of terrorizing and 1 count of carrying a concealed weapon. The clouds and showers are hanging around. They are on their way out, we're told, but it sounds like they'll be coming back. Hutch, what's the latest?
Yeah, if you stuck the laundry out on the clothesline this morning, things were a little soupy as we got the day going with a lot of fog, low clouds, and some light showers of rain. But as we went through the day, the cloud base lifted, and actually looking out to the west, there's a little bit of clear sky in that direction. So clouds and showers mainly on the Minnesota side of the Red River right now. As we look off to the east and northwest Minnesota, Roseau County seeing those showers. Those stretch through Red Lake Falls and Fosston. And we also see them extending down towards the I-94 corridor just to the west of St. Cloud, where the showers are quite heavy. Some in central Minnesota picking up over 1.5 inches of rain over the last 24 hours. Temperatures in Fargo, I think we stay dry and mostly cloudy. We'll see 40s with light winds. So bundle up as you're heading outdoors. Another round of some shower activity is expected for the weekend ahead. We'll have the timing on that and let you know what we can expect as we glide through the rest of our weekend in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch. It's time to take a look at this week's Valley's Most Wanted. Police say Jerome Thomas III is wanted for driving under suspension and for a probation violation on a criminal conspiracy charge. You can call your local law enforcement if you have any information on Thomas. Emergency crews have had their hands full responding to a few reports of cars driving into buildings in the FM area. Both incidents happened yesterday. The one pictured above took place at 4510 16th Avenue South. Authorities say the car caused structural damage to the building, forcing fire crews to stabilize the wall. The second incident happened at 2927 Wheatland Drive South. The Fargo Fire Department says a driver swerved on the road to avoid hitting an animal jumped a curb and hit a garage. The garage was damaged but was still structurally sound. No injuries were reported. The West Fargo Fire Department wants to remind you that space heaters or dehumidifiers can start on fire. The fire chief there says they have already responded to several fires involving dehumidifiers that have either led to smoke or fire damage. Most of the appliances that go up in flames are on a recall list with the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. You can check that list by going to our website, valleynewslive.com, and clicking on this story. After 10 days of prayers and pleas for 13-year-old Jamie Kloss to come home, her classmates at Riverview Middle School in Barron, Wisconsin, enjoyed a rare chance to celebrate on Thursday. The Voice contestant, Chris Cruzy, played a show for her classmates. Kent Erdahl reports.
After 10 days of prayers and pleas for Jamie Kloss, Barron's Riverview Middle School
I'd like to introduce Mr. Chris Cruzy.
Finally had reason to cheer.
You guys mind if I play a few songs for you? All right.
Singer-songwriter Chris Cruzy is the other name you'll find all over town. Sign after sign cheering him on as a contestant on NBC's The Voice.
It's overwhelming at times, but it's really cool.
And long before the national spotlight, Cruzy says his community had his back.
I never sang in front of anybody until I was an 8th grader here.
And when this one-time middle schooler heard about a current middle schooler who suddenly vanished,
talking about love when you need someone,
it was his turn to lend a hand.
If I can come into the school, do something like this to bring the moods up with the kids, that's a small thing that I can do in a tough time for our community.
Cruzy also sang at Jamie's community vigil on Monday.
Can I do another song?
And he saved today's encore for the high school.
He's a local hero.
Which is why the high school principal says Chris did what heroes do.
Brought some hope. It just brought some good vibes into our community, into our schools that we desperately need right now.
Did the high school need it as much as the middle school?
We all need it. Our community needs it. Our community is greatly concerned for Jamie and her family, and our whole community needs this.
Chris says he's just playing his part.
We're a small town. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody's got each other's backs. And I don't know what it is. It's hard to put into words, I guess.
That's what the music is for.
The principal says in a time when the town desperately needed a pick-me-up, their very own Chris Cruzy delivered. The second debate in North Dakota's hotly contested U.S. Senate race is tonight. And don't forget, you can watch it here on Valley News Live. Heidi Heitkamp and Kevin Kramer will go head-to-head from 7 to 8 p.m., and you can see it on KX4. And this program note, we will be replaying the missed show MacGyver at 2:30 in the morning on KX4. A spokesperson with U.S. Senator Heidi Heitkamp's campaign has confirmed with Valley News Live that former Vice President Joe Biden will be making a stop in Fargo. Biden will be helping campaign for Heitkamp. Officials say Biden will be at the Fargo Air Museum at 11 in the morning, Thursday, November 1st. People in Cass County can vote early starting Monday. There are 3 places to do it in Fargo and West Fargo from 10 in the morning until 7 at night, Monday through Friday next week. You can cast your ballot at the Ramada Inn on 13th Avenue South, the Fargo Dome on the north side, or the Doubletree by Hilton in West Fargo. And then Wednesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., voters can do their duty at the Days Inn in Castleton. The general election is Tuesday, November 6th. Polls that day are open from 7 in the morning until 8 at night. You can double check your polling place through a link on our website, valleynewslive.com. You can click on the hot button. A network issue is to blame for a massive phone outage this morning that hit much of North Dakota and Minnesota. The outage impacted non-emergency lines like the Fargo Police Department's line. Our Valley News team's Maddie Gelseth listened to people's concerns of the outage and how it impacted the city.
If you tried to call the Fargo City Hall, Red River Regional Dispatch Center, Fargo Fire Department, and the Fargo Police Department Friday morning, you would have heard this.
The number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later.
This is because Consolidated Communications experienced a disruption of internet and select voice services due to a network issue.
Anytime you got a phone system down where customers and citizens can't call in to the highway department or the auditor's office or any department, you know, it's bad for our business.
Schmaltz says this happened at a terrible time because people are calling in for information on the election.
People are asking about absentee voting and where do I go to vote and when does early voting start and things like that. So any time is not a good time when it's down, but this is especially a bad time.
Consolidated Communications said other areas they serve saw impacts as well, including the Twin Cities and Duluth. But they said they began working to reestablish connectivity and have restored all services to everyone who was impacted. Reporting in downtown Fargo, Maddie Jalseth, Valley News Live.
A few services that were not affected by this disruption, the FM ambulance service and the 911 line. West Fargo is getting in the Halloween spirit early this year by hosting its annual Spooktacular Halloween party this weekend. To start the festivities, kids and families will have to go through the haunted maze. Once they get through that course, the Veterans Memorial Arena will be full of crafts, candy, and more. West Fargo continues to put on this event as a way to bring the community together.
A lot of times people just get so focused on their day-to-day stuff, and so it's fun to be able to come out and have an exciting event and see your neighbors and see everybody that you don't normally get to see. Yeah.
The Spooktacular Halloween party is this Sunday, runs from 2:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon.